everybody! Welcome to the Fandom Post Radio Podcast. I am your host, Kate, and joining me this week is... Wait, I put myself back to host. I'm supposed to say engineer now. Shit. I am your engineer, Kate, and joining me this week is Kestrel.
Yo.
And Kane.
Hello.
And DJ.
Hey.
And I'm still just gonna put myself back to engineer, but I'm still gonna do the intro. Huzzah! It is... The summer season is over, I believe. Everything is wrapped up. I believe.
Most things have wrapped up.
Most things have wrapped up. My two shows have wrapped up. What hasn't wrapped up? Anything important?
Let's see.
One Piece does not count.
Kingdom
like
hasn't
4 of
wrapped
my
up.
shows haven't wrapped up yet.
Love Live hasn't wrapped up. Fena hasn't wrapped
Sonny
up.
Boy.
Sonny Boy will probably have wrapped up by the time this episode is out.
Okay.
Is this the last week for it?
Yeah, its final episode is Thursday.
Gotcha.
Okay. Mostly wrapped up. 92% wrapped up.
Or
Sure. I don't know. That's a number I pulled out of my ass. But first we'll get into some of this news, because we do have a little bit of news.
yeah, let's see if we can not spend 2 hours on this. We do have another month's worth of news, though. So, speaking of things that have wrapped up, the first thing to wrap up pretty early this season was To Your Eternity. It's obviously one of my favorite shows of the past 2 seasons. And right with its ending, it got announcement of a second season, and it's even confirmed for fall 2022. That's very exciting.
For going any end of the world, more end of the world activities.
Sounds good.
Everything take too long.
Is that uncommon for a show to be confirmed like that? I'm so used to getting shows that I really enjoyed, and then it's like it'll get more sometime.
Yeah, having
eventually.
the season announced at the end of the final episode is pretty unusual.
Yeah, as soon as you said it, I was thinking, wait a minute, that can't be right. We're supposed to be sitting here for 6 years wondering if a second season's going to happen.
Yeah,
That is nice that you're getting some of that.
Something I didn't have on here, because I don't care that much anymore, is My Hero Academia. You know, at the end of every season that gets its next season announced. But I think usually they don't have the actual season it's going to be airing announced yet, and I don't think this one does.
Well, like I said, I mean, this might not stick.
Yeah, definitely in this day
Considering
and
it
age.
got pushed back. Yeah.
Yeah.
How
But
far
yeah,
along through the source material is it?
They have enough to do another full season.
This is kind of a weird one. It was like
episodes.
20 episodes.
Yeah, they have enough for... Actually, do they have enough for it? Probably. They made it through volumes 1 through 6. I think the breaking point is like volume 12. So yeah, they have enough for another 2 core season.
Nice. All right.
I haven't read past the point where this season ended, so that'll be interesting. Let's see if I catch up before then.
Next piece of news. Kiyoshi Kobayashi has retired at the age of 88. So, if you don't know that name, he is the voice of Jigen in Lupin. Specifically, he has voiced Jigen in every single piece of Lupin media ever released, except for one OVA where they didn't pay to get any of the voice actors back. But other than that, he has been voicing Jigen since the very first pilot film that was ever made for the anime in 1969, through the second pilot film, the first TV series 50 years ago in 1971, and he will be voicing him one last time for episode 0 of Lupin Part 6. And then he will be replaced by Akio Otsuka, who's a very prolific seiyuu for many years. Also kind of fitting because Richard Epcar's like 2 big roles are Bato in Ghost in the Shell and Jigen, and Akio Otsuka also plays Bato, so that kind of fits. But yeah, this is probably the longest anyone has ever played a character in anime. Definitely the most consistent. And that's cool to see that he's just retiring at a ripe old age and not dying.
Do you think he made serious bank off Jigen? I don't know how contracts work when you get into that type of longevity, or I don't know how the TV system works in Japan enough to wonder if he would get like crazy syndication money.
Yeah, you have to wonder if he's making like Simpsons voice actor money.
I think in Japan, all voice acting pay is based on seniority. So like in Dragon Ball Kai, their biggest expense was the voice actors, and they couldn't get some of them back, and they couldn't like actually make the show decent because they had to pay the voice actors so much. So yeah, I would expect that after over 52 years, he was probably making some decent money at that role.
$15 an hour.
Now, if he was an animator, that would be like top pay.
Yeah, it's glad to hear that he's going out on his own terms as well as, at least that's what I'm assuming, is that he's doing this last thing and then he's like, all right, that's, cut, wrap it up, rather than, any of the other unfortunate ways that some voice actors have retired, so to speak. So it's nice to get a little bit of pseudo good news. Like it sucks because he's iconic, but good in that he's not leaving because he's dead. So
yeah, like the dude's 88
or in jail.
That's another big one. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was definitely gonna have to be replaced eventually, whether he just wasn't healthy enough or whatever. But yeah, I think having that long of a run on over half a century of TV series playing the same character, you can't really ask for more than that in a franchise that could conceivably go on forever. So yeah, definitely cool to see.
I wonder if he thought about it all, trying to get a contract with whoever owns the rights to Lupin now, like for the animation and stuff, he can still be Jigen, but they just have to use voice samples from all of his previous things, so he could be Jigen forever, and they just cut up sound bites to voice all of the lines. So he could just make that, he could just make sweet, sweet money for all eternity. All eternity.
It's like the Snoopy method, where they just use the same noises that the animator did for Snoopy's barking, even though that guy has since passed on. But whenever Snoopy still makes the exact same noises, because they have a big enough library of Snoopy noises that they can just remix it forever.
I mean, considering they can bring live-action actors who have been dead for decades back for full movies, I think they could probably do it pretty easily.
Yeah, and imagine just how many pages and lines in novels he's probably filled. Mm-hmm. Just with his lines alone after that much time. It would be incredible.
Yeah, we've got 6 TV series, some of them hundreds of episodes long, movies and TV specials and OVAs like every year for the past 50 plus years, and Jigen's in pretty much all of it, so yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's like a good amount of like throwaway stuff from like commercials or whatever, or just random trinkets and doodads and merch that he probably had to put voices onto and stuff. Yeah, I'm sure they could actually do that. But
that just reminds me of when they tried to rebuild Roger Ebert's voice for him out of clips from his show.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't know that was a thing.
That happened when he lost his ability to speak. A company was all like, "Hey, but we've been working on this stuff. We can go through your old shows library and try to like create a voice print for you so that you can have like your robot voice be kind of similar to your real speaking voice."
Yeah.
I don't think he used it for very long because he passed away not too long after that. But it was like, that was many years ago too. So I just imagine like where that technology's at now.
It'd probably work better now.
Yeah.
I mean, you would hope.
Again, if they can, bring back people's likenesses in live action, then I'm sure they could do that.
Indeed. Well, luckily that's not going to be the case since this dude's just retiring. But
yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, next piece of news. So, Blue Period is one of my most anticipated shows for next season, and Komi-san Can't Communicate is one of many other people's, and both of those will be headed to Netflix, but they will actually be streaming weekly.
What?
Yeah, they're starting like a week after their Japanese broadcast, so it's not a perfect simulcast, but
that's fine.
They will
I'll take it.
Yeah, much, much better than anything Netflix has done before.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that Netflix had Komi-san until right now. And that I'm happy to hear that I'll still be able to watch it.
Yep.
That's what they're doing with... I think they've done it for like Great British Bake Off too over the past 2 years. They've done weekly episodes, rather than just shitting them all out at once.
Yeah. And again, they did Violet Evergarden back at the beginning of 2018, weekly everywhere but the US, and then waited like 6 months to release it all in the US. So, yeah, they've done weird things.
Netflix, they've done weird things. This is a good mod. Yeah, that pretty much sums them up.
Yep.
We'll get to more of they've done weird things.
Will we?
Actually, no, we won't. Actually, I'm looking at this list. I'm like, there are weird things, but they don't really fall into.
Are these going to be also? Are these also going to be with the tagline of Netflix original animes and stuff?
Of course.
Ah, good.
Always.
Fake it till you make it.
Can always count on that. Yep. And it's interesting, they have like tons of dubs planned for, I think, simultaneous release, which is interesting. Because, like, a lot of people do that in English, but they're planning to do it in, like, 8 languages for each show, which normally, they do that after 3 to 6 months, but if they're going to do it weekly this time, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Like, we've got kind of a pipeline for that now here, but other places?
They must have something figured out.
I mean, it's good for accessibility. That's for sure.
Yeah.
This is true.
And
also,
I guess
some shows are still pretty cool with the things. Like, when Emily and I did watch at least some of Violet Evergarden, we watched it in, like, French, and we were like, oh, this works surprisingly well. Because of the whole atmosphere and things like that. Like, so it can be fun experiments, too, to watch if you want to do something a little different. Like, try to pick a language that matches the setting. So if it's in Europe,
like German
pick a European
would be
language.
best for that.
They were both pretty good. We just stuck with French because it just kind of sounded nicer overall. But
English is a European language,
Oh, not anymore, baby. It's
not our English.
It's not our English. But that's cool that they get that accessibility, so you can watch it, or people who don't necessarily speak or read English, like subtitles and stuff, can watch it or listen to it in their native language. That's always cool.
And there's going to be like 13 languages of subtitles.
Damn.
No, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I wonder which one will be most broken.
They just start with the first language and do Google Translate from that one to the second one and so on. So by the time you get to the 13th, it's just complete nonsense.
Oh, Macho Donkey Wrestling Trainer, whatever that episode of News Radio was. The book translated to the Japanese back in English. Yeah.
I remember watching a copy of Star Wars that was like that. That it was.
Oh, that famous copy of which was episode 1 or whatever.
No, it was. I think it was 2. Because it was when Hayden Christensen was Anakin. But yeah, I think Anakin's name was Ratio Tile. Is what it eventually turned into. And some of the lines actually worked really well in like a Shakespearean sense.
That's where "do not like" comes from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like whatever his lines are in that subtitle track, they can't be worse than his actual lines.
I mean, it is like I said, some of the lines were better than the original. I mean, a lot of them were nonsensical, so at best they were equal. But some of them were legitimately better lines when they were translated. I can't remember how many languages they went through before going back to English. But they were certainly as good, if not better, than the original script.
Nice. All right, next piece of news. So there was a big old Gundam event, and they announced some major new productions. So one of those is a new television anime series called Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury, which will be released in 2022. And this is the first new TV animation work in the Gundam series in 7 years since the broadcast of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. So, pretty significant.
Do we know anything about it yet?
Yeah. I think that's pretty much all they said.
That's what I want to know. Do we have key art or anything? Nothing.
I think there was like a placeholder image on a website. And that was about it.
I saw an image that was just text, and I'm like, is there anything else?
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's like nothing about it.
Yeah, all we have is the logo and the fact
I wanted
that it will
to be
exist.
I wanted it to be a sequel from Turn A Gundam where the moon fights Mercury.
I mean,
that's what I want.
Like Star Wars, you will eventually get every possible scenario in Gundam.
Exactly. That's why it doesn't sound as ridiculous when I say it out loud.
Yeah.
You know what? This could work. They'll find a way.
I want it with a title like The Witch from Mercury. I'm like, I want it to be an all-girls team of Gundam pilots that are also idols at this point. Too. Because why not?
I feel like idol Gundam is just Macross.
That is true. Can we just have it be Macross but Gundams?
There's plenty of Macross too.
Do we even know if it's going to be Universal Century or...
Almost certainly not.
It doesn't sound like
universe.
it. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be alternate, but...
There hasn't been a UC TV series since the 80s.
No, the best we get is stuff like the, Thunderbolt or Hathaway, like OVAs or movies and things.
Exactly. Which I'm cool with. Like, keep pumping out the UC material that gets to real high budgets, and then keep exploring brand new universes in the full TV series. I like Double O, I liked Iron-Blooded Orphans.
I was going to say brand new universes or brand new Gunpla lines.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
With build fighters.
Yes. And, yeah, we've gotten like 3 or 4 2+ core series of that shit.
Ugh.
The novelty was cool for me at first, but I haven't watched it in a while because I'm like, all right, I fucking get it.
Yeah. I watched the full first series, and it was better than it had any right to be. And then the second one was, just kind of more of the same, so I didn't bother watching Build Divers or any of that.
Yeah, that's about the same that my friends and I did. We watched the first one, and we were like, this is way better than it has a right to be, since you can tell its only purpose is to sell toys.
Which, to be fair, all of Gundam is, even when it's like hardcore war stories.
That's true, it's all about that merch, baby. But, and then we watched a little bit of the Build Divers, and it was just like, it's like, it felt like retreads.
Yeah, for sure. They're like, wow, this is very successful. Let's just keep pumping out the same shit.
So, yeah, we are excited about it. I mean, we get excited about almost anything Gundam-related anyway. But, like, a brand new thing is nice to see, especially because, in general, my friends were a little disappointed with Hathaway because they felt like the trailer promised a lot of action, and then it turned into a lot of talking.
Mm-hmm.
Place your bets. How Gundam will the main characters' names be?
Gotta be pretty Gundam.
I mean, why can't I remember any of the why can't I remember any of the Iron-Blooded Orphan characters' names?
Mikazuki, it's just kind of Japanesey. It's not very Gundam-y.
Yeah, it wasn't Gundam-y.
Yeah.
That was the reason. I'm like...
Well, they didn't have a full frontal.
Yeah.
See? They might not be Gundam-y.
Nothing gets more Gundam-y than UC, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess the idea is to be, like, a little less Gundam-y. Like, you've got your tropes, you've got your Char clones, and you've got your robots with V's on their head, but otherwise they're just kind of, war stories in space. Other Gundam news from this, we have a new film announced. So, back in the year 1979, there was a TV series by the name of Mobile Suit Gundam. You may have heard of it. And episode 15 of that TV series was called Kukuru's Doan's Island. And the creator, Yoshiki Tomino, said, "This episode sucks. No one gets to see it." So that episode is excluded from all subsequent releases of the original TV series. So now, of course, in the year 2022, we are getting a feature film adapting Mobile Suit Gundam Episode 15 by the same title, Kukuru's Doan's Island. It will be directed by Yoshikazu Yasuhiko, who's the original character designer of Mobile Suit Gundam, the author and illustrator of the Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin manga, and the director of the Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin anime. And yeah, it's going to cover that episode that Tomino doesn't want anyone to see, which is super bizarre.
So let me get this straight. So he took an episode away from the original series, correct? Right? Mm-hmm. We just skipped over it. But yet somehow he allowed Double Zeta to exist in its entirety.
I mean, look at the new stuff that Tomino is making himself and trying to make people watch. So it's not necessarily about actual quality. Just for whatever reason, he didn't think that episode belonged in the TV series.
That's true. He is responsible for G-Reco and the movies that didn't really do a whole lot for it either.
Yeah.
Every anime series has that one episode that the creators like, purge this from the earth.
I don't think that's true. I think that's true of maybe 2 or 3.
The Gundam,
I can't think of another
Sailor
one.
Moon.
Oh, there was that Pokemon one, but that was because of censorship.
Yeah.
Well, that was because it was causing seizures.
Yeah. There are several internationally banned Pokemon episodes, but especially the one that causes seizures.
That Sailor Moon episode with the Loch Ness Monster. Or a Loch Ness Monster.
Maybe they'll make a movie out of that one.
It's so funny. Like, out of all the shit, that's why I'm thinking it's probably something completely banal. Like, whatever the original thing was probably, like, it's like, ooh, the mystery around this missing episode of Gundam.
I guess, yeah. Maybe that's the appeal.
I mean, they got a good staff on it, so it'll probably look good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's got that going for it already, because Gundam The Origin looks good pretty much all of the time.
Yeah,
now,
I
don't know if it's going to have that type of budget or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a movie and not an OVA series, so hopefully at least that good, if not better. And it's 8 years after The Origin. I think The Origin looks good, but I like the aesthetic of the Unicorn anime a lot more than the Origin anime.
I could see that. I don't. It's been a while since I've seen Unicorn, so I can't like confirm that I agree with you, but I could definitely see the reasoning behind it. I like them both. I think they're both good, but I'd have to watch at least a couple clips from Unicorn to figure out which one that I like, because I mean they both are good.
Yeah.
Oh man, remember Narrative?
I never watched Narrative because they didn't have it in theaters here, and I heard that it was terrible from you and everyone else.
It was really, really bad. That's why nobody talks about it anymore.
Yep.
It came out. It had a lot of.
I think the Blu-ray just came out.
Yes, it had a lot of hullabaloo, some marketing. It got a Fathom event.
Yeah.
I drove to Maryland to see it.
Oh wow.
It was so I could watch it with my brother, and then we just sat in the theater and we were like, what the fuck is this?
Nice.
So it can't, I mean, was that the last move, like, theater-style movie that came out? Maybe, I guess
Hathaway was in movies in theaters everywhere else.
I mean, so we don't have, there's not a great batting average going on recently anyway, because Hathaway's fine. It's much better than Narrative, but it's fine.
Yeah. Hopefully the next two will be better.
Yeah, I'm hoping they got the exposition out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get some, like, more sick-ass airplane terrorism battles and shit.
But yeah, anyway, lots of new Gundam, so that's good to see. I'm definitely intrigued by the new TV series, so hopefully it's around the level of quality of Iron-Blooded Orphans or 00.
Same here. I'll have to keep a lookout.
Yep. Speaking of TV series confirmed for... Sorry, speaking of movies confirmed for 2022, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is getting a movie for presumably its next arc. I don't know if it's been confirmed exactly what the content will be, but it does have a movie confirmed for fall 2022. So hopefully we get to see that before any potential future TV series starts up, assuming it's, like part of the canon.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what this could be. It's possible it could be the next story arc, because I had to double check the novel's life upstairs. I'm trying to think if this led directly into the arc I'm thinking it did, which would just be one big party, which seems appropriate.
Sure.
So, hey, I guess the reason that they're not plunging directly ahead with more, because the novels are way ahead of the anime, but I guess because they are following the manga, which is already kind of cliff noting the extremely exposition-y fuckery that goes on in the novels down to a more succinct version of events, they're caught up with the manga, so that's why we're getting a gap here.
You're saying that I just watched an entire season of people sitting around talking, and that was trimmed down?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much. It's like, you don't understand. Like, the novel will go through, like, half the book will just be Rimuru fucking around and being like, I did this, and then we set up this is how toilets work. And it's like, okay. And, like, the novels are like 360 pages long in English. So, yeah, there's a lot of bullshit that doesn't make for particularly engaging TV. So what you got is the pared down version of, and like 200 pages of people talking, probably.
Impressive.
Yeah. And still managed to be engaging. That's the amazing part. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah. All right. Next piece of news. So in the realm of live action adaptations of anime and manga, we are reportedly getting one for Saint Seiya, or Knights of the Zodiac, as it will be known and has been known in, non-Japanese regions in various forms. It's gonna have Sean Bean in it. It's gonna have Sonny Chiba's son in it. It's going to be directed by the executive producer of The Witcher, and it's going to be produced by Toei and Sony Pictures Worldwide Acquisitions, assuming it exists. This
was my biggest what.
Yep.
From that week, I saw that pop up, and I'm just like blinking and shaking my head, going, huh, "What? Huh? What?" There was a lot of what involved. Like, I couldn't even, formulate thoughts. I was like, just a white noise sound in my head.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see if that moves forward.
I think it already did. I don't even know. People were like, is this filmed? I think this has already been shot.
Yeah, it's got a lot of people attached, so it's got a better chance than a lot of them do.
They were like, hey, this thing exists, or will exist shortly in the future. And it was like, what?
Yeah, Saint Seiya as Knights of the Zodiac is absurdly popular in Latin America, so I'm sure that is the audience much more than the US, where it was not very popular. But it's like Dragon Ball down there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just Saint Seiya in particular, or that whole kind of genre, so you kind of lump all that shit, or is it just this one IP?
Yeah, specifically Saint Seiya. I don't know what else you were thinking would really fit under that umbrella.
They're all older things that don't really work anymore necessarily, but there was the English version was called Ronin Warriors, but it was called Samurai Troopers, which is a very, very similar concept of 5 pretty looking boys that have armor and stuff bestowed upon them by deities, and then they fight bad guys together.
Right. Yeah, I think Saint Seiya is definitely just on its own level in Latin America.
Yeah, it just hit there. It's kind of like how like Captain Tsubasa is like massive in the Middle East. It's just like every region has their weird show that was like a mega hit there and like nowhere else.
Yeah.
Dude, it's massive in Europe too. Captain Tsubasa.
Yeah.
In particular. Basically
Well,
any
anywhere
country
where
that loves soccer.
Yes, exactly. Which would not be the US. So
No, that's why no one gives a shit about it here apparently.
Yeah, and people generally don't give a shit about Saint Seiya here either, so it'll be interesting to see this.
And not for a long time at least. I don't know, maybe since back when it was on Toonami for a while?
No, people didn't even give a shit about it back then.
Yeah, not
I know,
too much.
I lived it.
Yeah.
It was
I know,
like,
we
oh,
have-
that
we
thing
have
that's
some-
on it was like, oh, that's that thing that's on before Sailor Moon, okay.
We have
And
some
remember, this was
DVDs
back
from
when-
Knights of the Zodiac. They're not good.
Nice. Yeah, even the Saint Seiya DVD collection that was released by like who the hell was it? It was Cinedigm and someone else. I can't remember, but they are very bad. All the subtitles are like awful and like 5 seconds off. Oof, it's rough.
Yeesh.
Yeah, like half the lines are just
God.
missing.
Now I'm wondering, who released the manga in the US? Was that Viz?
Yeah, I don't know if they released all of it. Probably not.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's even still in print. Probably not.
Good chance that's not.
I'm now looking it up.
So yeah, anyway,
Many series.
that will maybe happen, and it probably won't be good because I can't imagine that working in live action at all.
I mean, Sean Bean's in it.
Yeah.
Gonna be in it.
I can't remember if they said who everyone was playing, but I'm hoping he plays one of the children.
He plays one of the Knights of the Zodiac.
Yep.
Like, I saw like a picture of the cast and I'm like, okay, where are the kids?
Yeah.
I'm like...
Like, I'm sure Sonny Chiba's son is going to be playing one of them, but yeah, the rest of them are women and old men, so that doesn't really work. Yeah, okay, Ma Kenyu is starring as Seiya.
Okay.
Yeah. They're calling him Seiya, apparently. Yeah.
Brief check of Right Stuff. It says volume 28 is out of stock, but expecting more. Oh, maybe Viz reprinted it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I guess they haven't announced any of the cast other than Seiya.
Actually, wait, maybe only the later volumes are in print. Oh, shit. Yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, nah. Like, a handful of the later volumes still exist. You can't get the other ones in print, and it's not available digitally.
Well,
Congratulations.
maybe if this comes out, they'll do a reprint like Kodansha did with Ghost in the Shell, and then everyone will hate the movie, no one will watch it, it'll bomb, and they'll regret it. But we'll get a reprint.
They'll make it available digitally. They won't bother any other way.
Yeah, that's probably true. All right, next piece of news. So a few episodes ago, I mentioned that 11 Arts had surprisingly licensed Gintama, the very final anime movie, and I assumed they would be dubbing it, maybe with a different cast than the previous 3 dubs of that franchise, and later it was confirmed that there would be a dub. Now it's confirmed that it will be premiering at New York Comic Con, which is in like, I don't know, a week or two. And they announced the cast list. So, in typical bizarre Gintama fashion, it will be dubbed by Sentai, written and directed by Kyle Colby Jones, who did so for the first movie, which Sentai dubbed and released. But the 3 main characters will be voiced by their voice actors from Crunchyroll and Funimation's Ocean Group dub from Vancouver. And
What?
the cast is a random mix of that, some of the Sentai voice actors reprising their roles, and some other Sentai voice actors replacing some of the original ones. Some of the original Sentai voice actors are voicing different characters than they did before and not reprising their roles. Some of
What?
them were never in it at all. Yeah, so it's super weird.
I'm so confused.
How do you okay that? As in,
don't-
like, yeah, you can come back, but you don't gotta play the person you played before. Do whatever you want.
I mean, it's similar to what's happened with Evangelion, because, like, you know, Funimation got the Rebuild movies, and they cast some of the voice actors from the director's cut episodes in different roles than they played in those episodes, and replaced their original roles. So, yeah, and then we've got, you know, our new Evangelion dubs, where they have the TV series with a completely different cast, and then the redubs of the Rebuild movies with the original ADV cast for the most part, and pretty much none of the new Funimation voice actors who did all those movies originally, even though that had like half of the same cast. So yeah, dubs are fucking weird. There are increasingly more reasons to just stick to Japanese versions of everything.
Or, you know, just, you know, wait until the thing is over and isn't spread out upon a million. Or stick to the dubs that are actually complete with the same people.
Right, exactly. Those are fine, but like, and I guess, yeah, it's not true. You can't watch Evangelion in English consistently. But with Gintama, it's like, why even bother? Because the first season was only dubbed for Hulu by some like non-professional, non-English speaking non-actors from Florida that came out of nowhere, that nobody wanted. And then the first movie, which is a recap of one of the arcs from the first season, was dubbed by Sentai, with a real cheap, real rush dub where they cast like the same 5 people in every role. And then the second and third seasons aren't dubbed at all. And then the fourth one is dubbed in Vancouver. And then the next bunch of seasons and movie are not dubbed at all. And then this finale movie, which is the end of the story that's been built up to for the past several seasons, is going to be dubbed by this weird mishmash of people who have been involved in the franchise and people who haven't. So, yeah, there's really no point in attempting to watch any of Gintama in English.
So bizarre.
Yeah. Anyway, next piece of news. So, Plus Ultra is a thing from My Hero Academia. It is also a completely unrelated anime programming block that does not include My Hero Academia.
What?
And it has been running for a few years now, and for a while, all of its shows went to Netflix. Sucked, because we had to wait like 3 to 6 months for them. But the past few seasons, they've been going to Crunchyroll, and now they have announced a partnership with Crunchyroll. There have been a lot of partnerships in the past with like Noitamina, which is the most famous anime programming block, and various companies in terms of exclusive streaming rights, sometimes licensing. But this, they will actually be producing new content for the block. So they've got a few of them in the works, one of them by the director of Code Geass, one of them by the mangaka and studio of Knights of Sidonia. So, yeah, that's cool to see. I don't know exactly how this factors in with the Funimation acquisition, but I guess maybe Crunchyroll will be conducting some of its own partnerships and production cooperation still. So, yeah, hopefully there's some good stuff to come out of this.
All right.
All right, and final piece of news. So, Demon Slayer was announced to have a second season by the end of this year, and then it was announced that it would be running through the fall and winter seasons. But, you know, it was less than a week before the fall season was going to begin, and there was still no date announced for when that was going to happen. So they finally announced the details of this next 2-core season, And I guess the reason it took so long is because it's we're not getting the arc we were promised until the very end of the year. Kane, were you the one who speculated that they might be doing a Dragon Ball Super thing where they have the movie content in the series?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are basically doing that, except they're not going to like reanimate it or anything. They're just going to chop up the movie, re-edit it a little bit, I think add some new footage, and spread it out across like 6 or 7 episodes. So that is going to start on October 10th.
I didn't think it would be going for that long. I thought it was just going to be like a 1 or 2 episode thing.
Yeah, no, the Mugen Train arc starts on October 10th, and then the actual next arc, which was previously announced, the Entertainment District arc, starts on December 5th. So most of the fall season will be the movie again. Which makes sense because, one, they already got a shitload of money from it, from record-breaking box office sales, from sold-out Blu-rays, limited editions, all kinds of different editions, exclusives from different retailers, and nobody knew that they were going to do this. So now they get to make that money again, probably not as much, but through the TV broadcast and new Blu-rays, because it's going to be slightly different in episodic form. But even beyond the cash grab of it, it really does make sense logistically, because this way you get to just watch through the TV series, not have to worry about stopping at certain points to go watch a movie. You don't have to worry about, streaming services not having a movie where they would more likely have TV series and not being able to see a essential part of the series. So, for all of those reasons, it is kind of a good thing they're doing this. So for the future, you can just watch through the series and it covers everything.
Yeah, the only thing you have to really worry about is if they add anything to the show that like kind of contradicts the movie or does anything like that, because having them pad out the movie into, you said, 6 or 7 episodes, right?
Yeah.
That's better than Dragon Ball Super, which took a movie and padded it out to like 20 episodes.
Yeah, for sure. And made it look like ass.
Yeah, they made it look like ass and then added a whole bunch of stuff that didn't happen in the movie. Granted, none of it was very, impactful on the movie or anything like that, but it was just a lot of stuff that it felt like they added just so they could get to the episode count they wanted. It didn't actually make the storyline from the movie better or clear anything up that was in any way important. So taking what is essentially Mugen Train, like maybe 2 hours?
Yeah, it's like 2.5, something like that. Let me check.
So you take a 2 or 2.5 hour movie and then split it into 6 or 7 episodes. I mean, you can essentially just do a 1-to-1 at that point, and you're good. You're not adding anything. You're not taking anything away. You're solid. So as long as they don't do what Dragon Ball Super did, I agree. I think this is generally a good thing. I would still recommend people just to watch a movie rather than the show, just in case, the movie just looks nicer and flows better because it's a movie and you sit through the whole experience at once rather than episodes that are interrupted by opening and ending themes, so they have to cut it off and find the story beats. In the movie, you just get the whole story at once. But for someone who doesn't want to do that, yeah, this is just a nice alternative.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, which ends up being the better experience. So just to, be completely clear on the details here, I'm going to read off the tweets. So, the Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Mugen Train arc TV series will include an all-new episode 1 featuring the day leading up to the events in the movie, plus re-edited 6 episodes featuring new scenes and music, for a total of 7 episodes. Lisa returns to sing the theme songs for Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Mugen Train arc, with opening theme Akeboshi and ending theme Shidogane. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Entertainment District arc kicks off with an hour-long episode 1 and will feature theme songs by Aimee, including opening theme Zankyo Sanka and ending theme Asa Gakuru. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I think that's all the details. So yeah, it's going to be a new, but probably not that important, first episode on October 10th. Then 6 episodes of re-editing the movie with some new scenes and music and stuff. And then the new arc kicks off on December 10th with an hour-long premiere.
Okay, so that's more promising at the very least. Yeah, they're adding and editing new things, but they aren't trying to stretch 2 hours into 6 or anything like that.
Yeah. So the original movie was 2 hours. So, that's 5 24-minute episodes. Take out the openings and endings and previews and recaps. Your episodes are basically 20 minutes of content. So, yeah, 6 episodes is exactly 2 hours. So, yeah, that makes sense.
The editing is probably just for where to maybe put like commercial breaks or something.
Yeah,
or maybe
the eye catches, the endings and beginnings of episodes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they'll probably modify the scene slightly to better fit in episode format. Yep.
Neato.
That is all the news.
Very good. Exciting things. Some promising, some not so promising, some entirely mysterious and nonsensical. And who doesn't like a good mix?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I think it's about time we move on to what everyone thought of the season, correct?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
See?
All right, cool. As usual, Kate and I watch 3 things or so. And this is the part of the show where Kestrel and DJ put us on their back and carry us to the finish line. For the
Hooray.
most part. Yeah.
But it's also the part where we rely on you to choose which shows that we'll talk about because we're indecisive.
I know.
true.
This
And
is
I
always
don't have anything I'm
perplexes me.
passionate about this season, so whatever you want to talk about.
All right, well, I
Let's-
actually kind of have an idea of what I want to hear about first.
Okay.
I want to hear about My Hero, only because it seems like the show is
Cool.
just getting worse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say we should probably start with that because it is getting worse. But, I mean, from what I understand, this is, and I haven't read the manga, but this is the arc that everybody, well, at least until we got to My Villain Academia, which is what we got to watch for the last few episodes. But the arc before that was the one that everyone was like, this is going to be really boring and blah, blah, blah. So I never had high hopes for this season to begin with. But I've heard a lot of interesting things about what's happening next, and it's going to be super action-y, apparently. And people like action, so next season will probably do better. But this one was entirely uninteresting until the last few episodes. That kind of sucked.
Yeah. So the first arc of the season was super boring, and it took up an entire core, and it could have been a fraction of that and been relatively watchable. And then they had a super shitty filler episode for absolutely no reason. And then I haven't read the manga either, but I know this from everyone who's read the manga bitching about it. They just started randomly rearranging the orders of the arcs to like better promote the movie that came out during this season, and that led to the story not only being told chronologically where it wasn't intended to be originally, but also a bunch of like reveals not being correctly presented because you were not supposed to know certain things and you were supposed to know certain other things, and that's not how they were presented at all. So it became a huge mess. And then like the second to last episode was one of the best, or the third to last episode is one of the best episodes of the series. And the second to last one was also like the next best of the season. But most of the stuff
I kind of just
before
want
that
the villains
sucked.
to take over. I just want to watch them now.
They are definitely way more interesting, especially after, we got like 3 or 4 episodes of the villains, and we got like
Yeah.
13 of fucking students practice fighting again, and it's just look at this quirk and then this quirk and then this quirk. Nothing has stakes until the last episode or two of that arc. And then we got more internships, and there's some decent family drama involved, but nothing else matters. And then finally we get the villains, and it's interesting, especially Shigegaki's backstory.
Man, they're doing more internships?
He's great. And Twice, too.
Know, right?
I forgot that great. Twice was an actual character.
Yeah,
And, he just showed up and was, fucking super interesting for an entire episode.
Because he had that episode, a season or two back. It was, the final episode of season 3 or something. The first half of it was just randomly Twice focus. And I don't even think you knew it was Twice until, partway through the episode.
It was the first episode that I don't think it's the first episode you see him, but the first episode he actually does anything.
Right. And yeah, he's super interesting there. And he's super interesting in his episode or two of this season. And then, yeah, Shigegaki's backstory and some of the stuff leading into the present has some incredible content. But man, so much of the season was bad, really bad, or just messy. And way too long.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt like this season didn't really need to happen.
Yeah, for the most part.
There's none of it.
At its best, when they were finally getting to anything that even kind of mattered, it was just setting up for the next season. There was no climaxes. Yeah. It was just, boy, I bet you can't wait until something actually happens.
But apparently a lot of things happen soon, so that's cool. We just had to get an entire season of setup first, I guess. Maybe they're purposely lowering our standards so that next season they can blow us away.
Yeah, but man, it does. I feel like people have probably dropped the series in this season more than got hyped for what's to come. Because it was very.
Don't you normally want to?
I'm too far in to drop it. This is the longest show I ever watched.
Yeah,
so I'm too far in now.
Don't you normally want to hype people up for the good season? You don't want to give them a trash season and hope that they stick around for it?
You would think so.
I don't know, man. Ask them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just baffling the decisions that went into the season. Again, how long they dragged out that first arc, having a filler episode just out of nowhere, and then just the way that they just randomly shuffled around the order of events. None of it makes any sense.
What was the filler episode again? Was it the Selkie one?
Yeah. And the first filler episode of the series was also Selkie, and it was the same bullshit.
Is he just the filler character?
Apparently, I think he exists in canon, but the anime has used him way before his canon appearances for just every filler episode for no discernible reason. And they retreaded a bunch of the same shit, and it was way worse this time. And they always just throw them in the middle of other stuff for no reason. So bad.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
And it's just carrying into next season now, right? So there isn't you have to wait a while to get the next one, and now.
Oh no, yeah, it's over for now. Season 6 will be, I don't know, sometime next year, the year after.
Oh man, so now you're just letting people gestate on.
Exactly.
Ugh, yep. That makes it worse.
Big anticlimax, and then wait.
Oy.
Yep, that's why it's so disappointing.
Yeah, not very strategic.
It's really weird.
I was surprised when you said they got more interns because I haven't watched My Hero in quite a long time, maybe season 2, and that's when they first got internships, and I was like, oh, this is kind of neat, but now they're still doing internships?
This is the third internship arc.
Again.
Yeah. Third unrelated internship arc. And the whole, hey, let's have a class where we just fight to compete and show off our quirks and get graded. They've had that arc 3 times too, and this time they wasted an entire core on it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this time it was a lot less interesting than the other times, though.
Right. Because
it was just a dumb tournament thing.
Right. It was just a dumb tournament. It was way too long. And it was literally just, hey, you like when we show off 20 quirks. What if we showed off 40 quirks?
Yeah, like, we don't care about fucking Class B.
Nope, but they want us to. They want us to buy all the merch so that we, love them and know all their quirks.
Yeah, that just doesn't sound very pleasant. Well, hopefully it's better when it comes back. Or you guys that are still hanging on, I mean, people must be watching it if it's getting to season 6. So, like,
it's still the most popular thing.
Yeah, the numbers must still be good.
For sure.
Hey, apparently I discovered over the summer when I was sitting next to my niece at a restaurant, and I glance over and she's got her phone under the table and she's fucking watching My Hero on it. And I'm like, in my brain I'm going, I didn't know she watched anime. And I'm like, she's watching anime. I'm like, I was not responsible for this. And I was like, have I failed? Or have I succeeded? I am disappointed in myself. And then went through this whole thing.
Very mainstream these days.
I know. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And she was like, I guess, getting manga from the library and stuff too. And I'm all like, it's somebody who had to remind her, it's like, your aunt has boxes and boxes and boxes. And I think she's like, yeah, I know. Or something, like something to that, like, I'm waiting for the day that she shows up here and she's like, can I raid your stash? And I'll be like, yes, come, my child. I will show you the wonders of the world.
The dream.
It's the dream. I'm like, I didn't have to force her into this. I'm like, she found it on her own. I'm like, wonderful. I have somebody to pass all this shit down to.
I have more storage for my manga volumes.
Exactly.
Also, this last core had by far the worst opening of the series in every way.
Wow, so there's just nothing.
It's fucking horrible. It's really like bad. One of the worst openings that I've seen. Well, like not, but like the song sucks. The opening itself is okay. Like that, whatever. The song,
the animation's pretty bad too, but the song is definitely
it's not
unforgivable.
Great. It's dumb, but it's not bad. It's just dumb. It's the song that fucking, it's just irritating. I don't really like when Japanese openings have a surplus of English lines because none of them ever make sense. This is just like an entire opening of that.
Sometimes I like that. This time, for whatever reason, it was extremely irritating.
It's cool if there's like one line where it's like, let's get dreaming or something like that. It's just like super like, yeah, let's do that thing that's not a real thing. But this is just fucking, every line is stupid.
It's really stupid.
Let's get for everything.
Yeah.
Let's dreaming love.
Let's fighting love.
That's right, that's what it was. Let's fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you on that one, DJ, is that it's fine if there's like one or two, but when I start hearing like whole lyrics,
it's like the whole song. Like just write in Japanese.
I don't know, it's weird. Sometimes I find like really bad English really endearing. This was just infuriating for whatever reason.
I think it all depends on the circumstances of when you hear it, I suppose. Like in an opening and an ending theme, I could see how it would be more endearing. But when you're watching an anime like, say, Terror and Resonance, and it's supposed to be really, really serious, and then there's a female character who speaks only in broken English, it can completely ruin the experience.
That character.
Yeah.
What'd you say, DJ? I'm sorry.
Is there actually a character like that in Terror and Resonance? I don't remember that.
I think her name is Nine.
Did she only speak in broken English? I don't remember that.
I don't think she only spoke, but...
There was a lot.
There's a lot,
like,
yeah.
She's the one with the hair, right?
Yeah. She didn't speak in only broken English, but one of the first times you meet her, she has like several lines in broken English, and they just don't work.
Wasn't 9 the main character, and this was like 6 or something?
It's been a while. I
haven't watched it since it aired.
Yeah.
It was a number, though.
Yeah, it was a number, yeah. Yeah, I bought it on Blu-ray, I think maybe shortly after it was released.
Mhm.
and then watched it. And
Becca
I
likes
haven't
that
watched
show
it
a lot.
since. And I was like, oh, this show's great. And then she shows up, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, sometimes they try to do that for foreigners, and they don't get someone who knows the language to speak it, and it's rough.
I love every single like English actor in anime because it's always like, "Hello, can you help me get to the station?" And it's like fucking amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, again, sometimes I
5.
really like it. 5. I was off by 1.
5. Yep, she becomes an she becomes an American FBI operative who travels to Japan. That's why she speaks so much English, I guess, is that she worked for the FBI somehow.
Right.
That doesn't even make sense.
That was a strange. There are several things about that show that confused me. I think that was one of them.
It was still cool though. I liked it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an interesting show.
But yeah, so I guess it just all depends on the circumstances when it comes to broken English.
But again, even in openings that have this percentage of English that's not very good, I can still like it in some situations. Just something about this one really pissed me off.
All right, well, I don't want to make you guys talk about a show that wasn't very good any more than you have to.
Can I talk about a show that wasn't really good that I just want to yell about for a second?
Sure.
It's
because-
gonna be Higurashi again.
It's gonna be fucking Higurashi.
Oh,
because
no, never mind.
I've got a bone to pick with this show.
No, go for it. Yeah.
Over the
let-
past year or so, you guys have listened to my experience with this show and how I've struggled to make sense of what it is and why it exists. And now, 1 year later, I realize that all of that time would have been better spent on literally anything else. Because from just episode 13 to episode 14, they fucking made probably the dumbest decision that I've ever seen any director make in anime. And it's like not even the very last episode yet, but it's already surpassed Sing Yesterday for me in just pointless, why does this exist material. Because Higurashi, and I guess spoiler alert for anyone who's gonna fucking make the wrong decision to watch Sotsu, it's a shonen battle anime now. And it's not even just like minor shonen battle. It's fucking Dragon Ball Z, Rika and Satogo going Super Saiyan and fighting over a mysterious sword that was introduced in that episode. And it's just, why did this happen?
What?
It doesn't make any sense at all. And just watching the reaction of everyone who sat through it we're all collectively confused. It's not the good kind of like, oh wow, Higurashi did an unexpected thing. It's they fucking ruined every single episode that came before this. And it's not canon. I refuse to believe that it's canon at all, and it's just the fucking dumbest thing, and I'm so mad that it exists. And I've wasted so much time for them to just turn it into fucking Dragon Ball Higurashi. I don't understand.
That sounds hilarious. In a terrible way, but like hilarious.
Like, talking about it doesn't do it justice. It just looks so incredibly dumb because not only is it a shonen battle anime now, it's a shonen battle between two like 8-year-old girls who just transform into shrine maidens out of nowhere, fighting in the sky over a sword. And it's like, I don't understand how this happened. Like, who let this? Like, whose decision was this?
Well, Umineko has an awful lot of like cutaways moments where they're just the manga version chapters of like imaginary witch people just beating the shit out of each other. So I guess that's where it came from.
Imaginary witch people.
I mean,
there are like
hate
bunny,
it so
there
much.
are like bunny girls. They're like the personification of like stabby things or something. I don't even know. I've read all of them in Echo and I can't even. I'm like, it's a long story.
There's still one episode left of this show too. So like, I have to watch it at this point because I hope that it's just like a 20-minute apology for everything that happened beforehand. And the only way that it would even be remotely okay is if they like fucking explained it away as like a drug-induced fever dream and that none of it ever happened. I need to know that this didn't actually happen in order for me to pretend that I liked the show.
They're going to pan back and one of the characters is just going to be looking at a snow globe.
Yeah.
I don't understand how this happened. Like, at least, like with shows like fucking Sing Yesterday for me, and I Magical Warfare was another one that just had a really fucking horrible ending. Mm-hmm. At least those shows, like, it makes sense. It's like, yeah, it's bad, but it's like, it fits the genre. This is a completely different show all of a sudden, and it's like we were trapped into watching something that we didn't want to watch. And they're just like, haha, you wasted your time, bye, and that's it. I'm so mad. Yeah, okay, I'm done. I got my anger out. We can talk about something else now.
Is it done?
Mm-mm.
Oh, so there's still more of this.
Yeah, one more.
And then that's it.
So you're saying the only way for this to be salvageable is if it does it was all a dream ending.
Yeah, like if it's all a dream is a fucking good thing for your show, that is a testament to how bad your fucking show is.
What if it just pans back and it's just like Featherine drunk off her ass, giggling like high as fuck, trying to
straight. That's like
down.
That's been the last 7 episodes, Kate.
Oh, I don't know.
It's just every single episode. She just fucking laughs the whole time.
Yeah, but what if she's like high and writing this down, and this is why it's like batshit insane?
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably what's going on. It's all her fault.
It's like more Umineko than Higurashi at this point.
Probably. It sounds like it if there's just random ass battles that don't mean anything happening.
Damn.
Anyway, okay, moving on to something else.
Hopefully the pain's almost over. Because I remember...
Oh my god, I hope so.
I remember when you were still, like, cautiously optimistic.
There was a period of time where I like really liked this show. I think it was like around the beginning of this season where I was like, you know what? I'm glad that this exists. And they ruined it all. I can't even recommend it anymore. I've been fucking championing this show harder than anybody because I just love that series so much. And now I can't anymore. I'm done. I'm tired.
I'm just so tired. Amazing. All right, we'll let you off the hook now, and then hopefully that'll be the end of your pain. In that respect, I think we should switch perhaps over to something that people tend to like a little bit more. And why don't you guys talk about some Reincarnated as a Slime then, especially since we had news about it earlier. So we can kind of bounce around on that because I know that's generally well received as opposed to Higurashi apparently.
Second half of the second season of Slime spent 7 episodes in a meeting that lasted one day.
So it's like Haikyuu.
Yeah.
It felt like the Monday
morning.
Like
Haikyuu.
Yeah, it's the Monday morning meeting that never ended. But it is literally the G.I. Joe knowing is half the battle thing, because they spent half the time preparing the diplomatic relations, the battle plan, and all that shit up front, and then executed on plan flawlessly for the 6 episodes or whatever of the ending of the season. There was a lot of talking. And some very nice lawn furniture.
Talking isn't necessarily bad, though. Like, was it setting up a lot of stuff, interesting conversations? Like, you can have good talking, like movies like 12 Angry Men, which is only talking. Then you can have a lot of bad talking.
I thought they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, it was engaging. I think more would have been overkill. And it has some very satisfying catharses near the end of the season. So, yeah, it was pretty good overall.
Yeah, the talking and the talking, like the true test of faith. It's like how is the peanut gallery handling this? And you scroll down to the comments, people are like, oh, that 20 minutes passed so fast, and I'm like, oh, people are not angry. Okay, scroll back up. Because I'm like, is it just me? Am I broken? Because I like the source material. I scroll down. I'm like, oh no, people seem to be wholly on board with this meeting that's lasting 5 episodes. So good on them. It had nice music and really clean animation for those meetings. So yeah, that helped too. Like, just good direction in general. Some clever stuff happening. Good sight gags going on in the background. Stuff like that. And then when it actually came down to, like, the battle at the end of the season, that shit looked great. Except for one episode. One episode was kind of like, whatever. But the rest of the episodes looked really, really damn good.
Yeah, it was a good production. Very entertaining. All you can ask for.
All you can ask for in your slime power fantasy bullshit nonsense.
Yep.
So are they gearing up for something big with all the talking?
Yeah, the last 6 episodes are a big battle. The armies go to fight each other, which is kind of anticlimactic because they had planned everything out so well that shit was just kind of a cakewalk. And then the like head honchos having a different battle elsewhere, which was both political and like a lot of political maneuvering, some like, you know, like accusatory like courtroom bullshit, and then an epic beatdown, which was very cathartic because it was taking out a villain which had been present from almost the start of the series. So yes, cathartic. And then they gave him some character development right towards the end. So you kind of understood that, like, oh, even this asshole, like, was concerned about his friends and was trying to do something for his former boss, and he's still an asshole and he deserved what he got, but you're like, it's like, oh, yeah, that sucks. I can understand where his friends are coming from now, and, like, that shit. But he shouldn't have been such an asshat. He got what he deserved, so fuck you.
And they set up the real boss.
Yes, they did set up the real boss.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Who they revealed in the anime, like, way sooner. I mean, you could tell in the novels who it was, but, like, they didn't outright say it until the arc after this one. But here they were just like, hey, da-da, and it's like, oh, okay. I guess we're not fooling anybody with what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably easier to keep it under wraps in just text.
I mean, even in text, they weren't doing a particularly good job because you could tell who it was by who was talking to who, kind of situation, but...
Yeah. Still, they don't have to literally show them.
Yes. This is also true. Anyway, Slime is great. Solid production. Enjoyable. Good adaptation.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to deal with what you were talking about with the novels, because that sounds rough.
Like, the novels are still enjoyable, but oh my god, if you don't like
how toilets are made.
The whole half of this was set up. Yeah, the novels are like even worse. That's like 3/4 of this was set up. Here's a 5-page battle scene at the very end. Yeah, I'm looking at you, volume whatever I just finished not that long ago. But still enjoyable, because sometimes it's fun to just listen to Rimuru talk about, like, fucking infrastructure forever.
Now, is this also taking a break before the new season for a while, or is it...
Yeah, no next season announced yet. There's the movie coming out, which we don't know the contents of. That'll be end of next year. But the TV series is done for the moment.
Caught up to the manga, not caught up to the novels. They could if they wanted to, but they've chosen not to. I will respect their decision.
Gotcha.
Also, mad props to Veldor in those final episodes for going full bullshit otaku and using every Street Fighter move.
And Kamehameha and several other
Kamehameha.
anime references.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. He spent the entire season reading manga and then was like, this ends on a cliffhanger. It was like, what was it? Too? It was like 3x3 eyes or something really fucking random too. like something old ass random like that. I'm like, really? You interrupted this meeting for that? Okay. And everyone's like, oh shit, Veldor's here. And he's just like, I just want this manga. Oh, Veldor is great. I like Veldor in the anime way more than I do in the novel. Like, he comes off so much better in the anime than the novel. Alright, anyway, yeah, moving on.
Excellent. Alright, cool. Then, let's talk about some Uramichi-Oniisan. Because at least 3 of us watched it, I believe, right? Yeah,
yep.
Right?
Yeah, I watched the last episode today.
Indeed, I probably won't watch it until Friday or so, but I've really enjoyed the series so far. The only thing I was thinking about really before we started the episode today was that I know a lot of people were concerned that the joke was gonna like kind of fall flat after a couple episodes, which is a very similar thing I was reading about Sleepy Princess and Demon Castle. And I was happy that it didn't in either of those 2 shows. I felt like Uramichi always did just enough to kind of switch up either the setting or add a new character or just choose a different part of working a dead-end job that sucks dick to make funny jokes about and everything. But overall, I thought it was pretty much fucking hilarious. But
yeah,
I think it also has a very targeted demographic.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Like
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like teenagers and shit. Yeah, teenagers and shit aren't gonna watch it and be like, "This is really really funny" because they haven't had a chance to have their spirits broken
right,
yet.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think a big part, because I was one of the skeptics who didn't expect to enjoy this show for its entire duration. I was like, this will get boring after 3 episodes and whatever. I think the reason that wasn't the case was because the character ensemble just worked so well with one another. They're like one of my favorite groups of characters in any show I've watched in the past couple of years, because they feel like actual coworkers, and like none of them are particularly close with one another, but they all know each other well enough to like just back and forth banter, and it feels real. And it was just a lot of fun seeing something that was so ridiculous yet so relatable at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think that hits the nail on the head there, is that it almost perfectly mimics a real work environment. Like, they hang out sometimes, but not really, and sometimes they hang out because they're forced to, and they get along well enough, but they're not like best friends, or there's not
they've
really
all like got their own lives that no one else is really involved in.
Yeah, which you don't see all the time, and not just in anime about the workplace, but just like in general in TV. You'll get a workplace and all of a sudden they're all best friends hanging out all the time and shit, which just doesn't really happen. So that was a really good point. Yeah, that they had their own lives, and that some of them are kind of friends and others just really aren't. I mean, some of my favorite gags are when Uramichi is picking on Usao, or the guy inside it, really, but while he's still in costume and stuff, and they
Those
just have
costumes are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, the costumes are great. I didn't think that having a costume would make some of the jokes funnier, but I guess just seeing a guy cower in a bunny costume as he has to answer like really uncomfortable questions and shit was really good. But I think what also for me helped kind of flesh out the show enough between the jokes is that the characters themselves, they had lives outside, and they kind of grew a little bit, or you saw some stuff about them. Like Uramichi in the beginning is really just a vessel for jaded jokes and telling kids horrible truths about being an adult, and then it's just that's what he does in between the scenes. But then as the show goes on, you kind of learn like he really does care about his job somewhat and helping kids and stuff like that. Just enough so that he doesn't come off as a complete caricature. Like there's a little something there. And that helped occasionally, because then it wasn't just I'm watching like really thin one-dimensional characters. Yeah, they were 1.5D, but there was something there. But yeah, my brother and I watched this together, and we thought it was really funny. The only thing I didn't like was just the one character we talked about previously that you had kind of fleshed out a little bit, the choreographer.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I really enjoyed it. Castro, you haven't said a whole lot. Was there some stuff you wanted to kick in there? I know DJ and I have been doing a lot of talking.
Yeah, I think you guys covered it pretty well. It's definitely the kind of humor that works for me, and I don't see that often in anime, and has some more relatable qualities than most anime in general, and even most workplace anime. I was definitely concerned that that joke could only sustain itself for so long, and I think I probably got sick of it from time to time a little more than you guys did. There were some weird moments, like, it's a weird show. Like, just the songs, it's really weird just to sit through those songs and watch them play out, because they're just very uncomfortable for like 5 minutes straight. But it's all in service of the jokes, and they do mix it up enough and inject the occasional sincerity, either with interactions with the children or with each other, so that, yeah, it's got a little more going for it than what it initially appeared. So yeah, I think it definitely ended up being better than I expected, and I'm glad I watched it.
I just want to throw out there that I absolutely adored the summer and winter shoots, and it's so real. like having gone to school for film, that happens, and it sucks.
Oh,
And
having to film shit on the beach even though it's like 20 degrees out.
It's just cheaper. Oh, yeah, that's fun.
I actually liked... Speaking of the songs, one of my favorite jokes was the song "The Cat is Staring at Nothing Again."
Right? All the songs are so fucking weird.
I know, they're so weird.
It's just Uramichi in a cat costume just staring out at the audience for like 2 minutes straight.
For those who are not the four of us, that is Kane's Discord profile picture.
Yeah, it actually is. That's right. I changed it to that exact picture. Yeah, I also love the fact that they never stopped shooting the show. Mm-hmm. Like, no matter what happened, the director was just like, "Yes, cut, amazing."
Just keep going.
Great content.
This is what we want.
Keep it going.
Great content. The live shows were even worse. But people still loved them, like that Father's Day episode, and it turned into none of them can remember what their dads looked like.
It was just a great show all around.
That's dark.
Yeah, it gets pretty dark sometimes, but it's still like veiled enough and just enough of a joke that you laugh at it.
Yeah,
but yeah, one of the episodes, Kate, is they have like a Father's Day special, and they're asked to draw what their dads look like, and none of the main characters can remember what their dads look like at all, because they haven't seen or talked to them in a while since they grew up and left the house.
None of the children can understand because their dads are just in their lives constantly. But these guys are like, man, when's the last time I even talked to my dad?
That's dark.
Another good thing, actually, speaking of the kids in the series that makes the joke still feel like fresh occasionally, is that when the kids would say something kind of profound, or they would know something was up, and they'd be like, "Ooh, Uramichi's in rough shape today, huh?"
Yeah, I have sympathy for them. Yeah.
All right, now I'm gonna have to go back and watch their show because you guys are selling me on it. So.
Yeah, they have sympathy for Uramichi, like the joke where he's asking what kids have that adults don't, and eventually turn the kids saying hopes, dreams, a future.
Yeah, I definitely love that kind of humor, but it's a really weird show with a lot of really awkward moments.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. I would recommend going back and watching it, especially if you've ever had like a dead end job or series of dead end jobs.
Oh,
dead
I
end
made a
life.
dead end job.
Yeah, a dead end life. Yeah.
And I was a film student, so I think I can relate to everything
Yeah, I
going
think
on
you'd
there.
appreciate this show, Kate.
Yes, I think this might be right up your alley then, if you can check all those boxes off.
Yeah.
The dark humor, the bad filming, it's all there. It's all there.
Well, I'm glad that us talking about it sold enough on you. Yeah, and the episodes
Yep.
go by pretty quickly because I think were all of them one storyline throughout, or were some of them chopped in half where they had like two?
Some of them were chopped in half.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were vignettes in general, but usually there's a common theme running through an episode.
Right. So that makes it even like more digestible in a sense. It makes the jokes, I think, more. I think that makes them feel a little fresher too, because they don't try to drag it out too long. You get that 10-minute vignette of whatever's happening, and then they cut to something else, which is good. But yeah, would definitely recommend watching this show if you fit that demographic. So yeah, go for it. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Awesome. Cool. Because nothing in the fall season looks interesting to me, so...
Really? Fall season's going to be way better than this season was. Season was trash.
I'm the opposite. This is the season that I've been least excited for out of all of them.
This one or fall?
This upcoming season.
okay.
So I think fall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, they're like, the things that I am excited for, they're big things.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
But it's like, overall, I think there are only 11 shows that I was like, I'll watch this. And some of them were like, I might watch this.
I mean, this
So like, at max, I will be watching 11.
this past season, didn't have a ton for me to get excited about other than continuing stuff. Really, other than continuing stuff, there was nothing I was that excited about at all. But next season, we've got Mushoku Tensei, Komi-san, Blue Period, 86, Muv-Love Alternative. See how that turns out.
Yeah. I'm hoping that I can, like, consume that and understand it all.
Yeah, I'll be in kind
Because
of a...
I haven't played Muv-Love.
We'll be in like reversed roles to Higurashi, where like I'll have all the background on knowing what they have to work with and what they end up doing with it. So I'll be able to speak to that. That'll be very interesting to watch play out.
Yeah, I'm excited for that though, because that's a series that I've been wanting to consume in some form, mainly visual novel, because that is all that exists until now.
Yeah.
But I've just wanted to get into it forever and haven't had the time, and now there's a time-friendly way for me to do it.
Very curious to see how they can possibly make it work. They probably won't.
Do you know if it's one core or two, or
I don't
have they said yet?
think that's been confirmed yet.
Okay.
God, one core. I cannot imagine. Like, even if you cut out all the visual novel bullshit, which there's a lot of, it still feels like it has to be, like, 4 cores.
I would sure hope that it's more than one.
Yeah. Kaginado, that's next season. Lupin Part 6.
See, that's the problem, is it's a lot of sequels to stuff I didn't watch originally and not really interested in. Comey I would have watched, but it's going to be on Netflix, so...
Yeah, the two best new shows are Netflix.
Yeah, so...
But they're weekly,
Then,
which is
like,
great.
yeah, which is a huge improvement, but it's still... it's still what it is.
Meanwhile, like, the show I'm most excited for is a fucking just new idol thing that Toga Kobo's doing.
Of course.
Yeah, there's some idle shit. There's a bunch of, like, bullshit that looks like it's going to be terrible.
As always.
Yeah. I'm like, that's got a bunch of dudes standing around. That's going to be terrible. This looks like some sci-fi bullshit, which will probably be terrible.
Yeah, it looks probably worse than the first 2 seasons of this year, but yeah, I was not impressed by this past season, so I feel like I'll probably enjoy the next one more. I hope so.
I liked this season a lot, personally. I mean, a lot of the shows that I like, you either aren't watching or dropped, though. So.
Right, yeah.
Yo, man, Uramichi was great, so that's all that mattered for me for the most part.
Yeah, there were a few
That was
shows
fun.
that ended up better than I expected.
Yeah, and I'm going to use that opportunity to segue into Tokyo Revengers, because that is significantly better than I expected it to be after the first few episodes. I did not have high hopes for that show at all. And it's like, even though I don't want to say it's good. Like, it has a lot of problems, but there was no point in the series that I was not interested. Like, I saw the bad stuff and I was like, I don't care. This show's good. And so I was just always invested in the story, and it's one of the most interesting stories of the season. It might be the most interesting story of the season, just in terms of there's always something big happening, and there's a lot of plot twists, but they're never twists that are like unwelcome. It's things that make sense, and I like gang / yakuza type stories in general. They're fun to consume in this fashion, especially just on a weekly basis, and the characters are all really likable or unlikable. They're very much characters. So it was a show that I was really immersed in, surprisingly.
Yeah, I'll say Tokyo Revengers is good. This is one of the continuing shows that I was enjoying a lot all the way through. I didn't expect a whole lot out of it from the first few episodes either, and I think the adaptation could have been a little better. I haven't read the manga, but just in terms of production quality, it wasn't like top notch. I think the manga's probably better, and I sure hope we get more, but it did a really good job at always keeping you engaged, always having new intrigues. Just really milking that episodic or weekly format through its serial storytelling.
We'll definitely get more.
Mm-hmm.
We have to, because like not only did it leave off on like a huge cliffhanger, but it did well, I think. Ratings wise. So.
And I think, the most important thing for most manga adaptations is that, it increased the sales of the manga by, several times over.
Yeah, we'll get more. I don't know when we'll get more. I hope it is within a year or two, but who knows? Who animated that? Do you remember?
I think that was Light & Films.
Was it?
I think so.
Good for them. Good for them. They're normally like I feel really weird about that studio because they have like a few things that I really like, but then an even larger catalog of things I absolutely hate. And this is going in the good pile. So, hooray.
It's probably my favorite thing they've done. I feel like it's probably like the most high profile thing they've done.
Probably, yeah. Love and Lies is pretty high profile. Or at least it was around that time, but not like shonen fucking high profile.
Yeah, I guess I haven't liked a whole ton of their stuff. The Udon show was okay. Arslan was okay. Their new version of Shinkai's first thing was okay. Yamada-kun was okay. Their Cells at Work spinoff was okay. I think the rest was garbage.
Right. That's Tokyo Revengers. Do we have anything else that we wanted to discuss? Like, without Kane choosing something for us.
We want to touch on To Your Eternity. I want to hear other people's opinions on this because whoever watched it, because I read this arc in the manga, so I want to see other people's opinions.
Oh, I thought you were about to drop like a hammer of a hot take.
No, there was some really terrible animation somewhere. In that
we talked about
season.
that a little bit last time. That was a really
we talked about that last
episode.
I'll go first because I probably have the least to say out of you guys about this. I liked it, but I only liked about half of it. I really enjoyed the Gugu arc. I thought that was fantastic. I would have given that arc a 9 or a 10 out of 10. But the first episode, the March arc, and the Tonari one, I didn't care for anybody. And when I don't care for the characters in anime, I have a hard time caring about the anime. And so it's like that paired with inconsistent animation, it made me not like the show as much as I should, but I still really appreciated the story that was being told. I think I'd probably like something like this better in book form.
I feel like, other than that one episode with its animation, everything about the adaptation, again, I haven't read the manga for this either, seemed pretty solid. I think it was a well-structured story for its running time. I think it was directed well. The music was really good. The artwork was generally good and the animation was mostly serviceable. Sometimes it was very good animation. I agree that like the big climax of the Gugu arc was probably the peak of the series so far. That was really great content, but I enjoyed almost all of it. I think the one with the really bad animation, I also didn't care that much about the story of that either, with like the zombies and shit. But the rest of it, yeah, I was pretty invested the whole time. Definitely looking forward to more.
Yeah, I'm gonna say out of the manga arcs, the Prison Island one always felt kind of like weak, even there. So the fact that they were kind of, rushing through it, they took a long ass time to like give you a reason to care about Tonari, and it's all like, somebody please slap this girl because she needs to be slapped.
Yeah. Like, even when they gave you a reason to care, the reason to care made me kind of like her less. There wasn't really anything about her that I wanted to root for, even though she was just, what's the word? Shown to us as, like, an infallible good guy, kind of.
Yeah, I think...
She wasn't even that. It was more like she was just a victim of circumstance, and she was doing whatever she had to do to survive.
Yeah, but at the same time, she's also, like, playing a hero. And so it was a little more than just trying to survive. Like, try to survive, you don't put together a ragtag squad of kids and fight zombies. Like, that's not what you do to survive.
Yes, this is also true. Like, it makes no... It was like, why the fuck did you go back to the island? Of course, it's like, mad spoilers. Why the fuck do you go back to the island? You know the kid's immortal. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, like, just let him do the thing.
And then she found him, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing back here? You know I'm immortal, right?" And she's like, "Yo, yeah." And it was like, God damn it!
Felt compelled to come back because anime.
Yeah, I'm back because of anime. All my friends got back too somehow because anime. It's like,
oh, there they go.
You're all dumbasses. Now you're all dead. Congratulations.
Yeah. What happened immediately after that arc was good, though. The whole Piran thing. I liked her as a character a lot.
If the season had not ended, which I knew that was coming, once I figured out where they were going to end it, I'm like, oh, I know where the obvious ending of the season's going to be.
It's a good spot to end.
Yeah,
as someone who's not read the manga.
No, it is a perfect spot to end, because which they kind of showed, it was like there's a time skip after that, but it's like if it had left off before that with like Fushi in the boat, I think people would have been like way pissed off if that last Coda episode had not been there, which had a really good portrayal of somebody with dementia and losing themselves to dementia.
It was great. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's like, yep, I'm like, that checks all those boxes of this sucks, this disease sucks.
And like for a character who doesn't really understand what dementia is to be experiencing that's pretty powerful shit.
Yeah, and nobody was there to explain it to him or like why this was happening.
Yeah, especially since, it's this blank slate who doesn't understand anything about humans, and most of what he's been taught is from this person that he looks up to, and then to experience her fall apart and become, in some ways what he started out as. Yeah, that was really intriguing.
Oh, I didn't even think of it like that. That's rough.
Yep.
So it was a very high point for it to end off on, and it'll be interesting to I don't know, it'll be interesting to see people's reactions to where the story is going after this. From what I know, even though I haven't read the manga past this, I know where the story goes. And yeah, it'll be interesting. I hope they even out some of the rough production spots when they come revisit the show in a year.
Yeah. Hopefully they have that under wraps, and hopefully they get the Blu-rays fixed up a bit.
Yeah, at least that one episode, because God, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was just
there was even looped animation. I don't know when the last time I saw looped animation was, but holy shit.
Carol and Tuesday.
Well, yeah.
Looped animation in a bunch of spots.
Yeah. I feel like it's not that uncommon, but just everything about the production of that episode was just so obviously way behind schedule.
It was bad. Like, did you give this to the interns? What the hell's going on here?
They cut away from important scenes so that they don't have to animate it. They do, cheap little pans instead of actually movement. Yeah, it was rough.
The freeze frame on somebody with their mouth hanging open. Oh god, it was all bad. Like nonsensical editing, breaking the 360 rule. I mean the 180 rule. Oh god, it was bad all over the place. I'm like, why? Stop it.
But yeah, Tonari is definitely the least likable of like the arc specific main characters. But I guess it kind of fit in that arc because everyone's a bastard because it's an island where you just have to kill each other. So, I don't know. It kind of felt at home to me.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of absurd stuff in that series in general. So when I go, why this island, this isn't how this place would work in reality. That's not sustainable. And then I'm like, whatever. No, I'm like, this show doesn't make any sense sometimes. There's an immortal being walking around.
By the way,
anyway, okay.
If you like good portrayals of dementia, I finally saw The Father a week or two ago, and it's very good and very terrifying.
Yeah, I think I'm all set with that.
All right, you guys ready to move on?
Yeah.
So let's see. What are you and DJ sharing, Kestrel? Aren't you both watching Love Live? And Kestrel?
We are.
Oh, cool. Because I like hearing Kestrel talk about how he likes it, but he almost doesn't want to like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm in a slightly different boat this season where I like this one a lot, but I don't want it to exist.
All right, yeah. Let's open that can.
Yeah, to open that can, I'm pretty sure it was this year that we got the Nijigasaki Love Live thing, wasn't it? Was that fucking
fall
winter?
Of last year?
Oh, it was fall of last year. Okay, so that's less than a year ago. Yeah. But that was like under my assumption going to be the thing and that they were going to spend the next few years on because that's been the pattern so far. It's like, oh, we'll do Muse for 3 years and then people get bored of Muse. We'll do Aqua for 3 years, blah, blah, blah. And Nijigasaki came out, and I loved it, and I thought it was a vast departure from how they normally handle things. And apparently it's going to be a vast departure in not only how they handle things, but how they market things as well, because they got rid of that, and they put out Love Live Superstar, which is a completely different series featuring 5 different girls doing 5 different idol things, and it's like, okay... what happened to the girls you just showed us about less than a year ago? Because I really like them and I'd like to get a little more attached to them before you start peddling other idols off on me, even if they're great. Like it's a good show, it's well made, and they're all likable characters, and it's high production value, just like Nijigasaki was. But where's Nijigasaki? I don't get why they dropped it. Now I'm sure they'll do something for it again. I just wish they put more of their resources into that, because that could have been like a bigger thing. I'm sure that's not what's happening, but from a consumer standpoint, it feels like they're giving up on that in pursuit of just making money again. And it could be that. I don't know. I'm a consumer. I don't know these things, but I don't like it. But I like it. So yeah,
it is bizarre. But the anime is just commercials for the idols and all of their other merch and events. So I guess it kind of makes sense that they'd be like, all right, here's an anime series to establish 9 new idols. So you can go buy all the tickets to all their concerts and their subgroups and their solo acts and do whatever gacha to get all of their characters or whatever, costumes, whatever bullshit they peddle on gacha games, and buy all the merch for all those characters. And then here's another anime series next year with 5 new characters, and you're introduced to them. Now you can go buy all their stuff. And then next year we'll have 20 new girls, and you'll buy all their events, and worship them and get arrested for stalking them. And
It's like
yeah.
like as an idol fan though, I want more reason to worship idols, and it's like I don't want to worship something that is like just thrown at me and they're like, here, hope you like it for a little while. Oh, wait, have you seen this version? And it's like let me get more attached. I don't want to leave yet.
I'm going to guess their analytics have indicated that people only need a little bit of introduction, and then they will just fork over the money, and the more idols you can churn out of the machine, the better.
They just need that taste.
Yep.
They're definitely churning them out. They were on fucking NHK the other day when I turned it on. And like I never see idols on NHK when I turn it on. That's a thing that's happening now. But as an anime superstar it's good. It's another good Love Live anime. It's just much like you can tell that they have money now, so they don't really care about how well, I don't know where I was going with that. They have more money, so they're able to do more shit. They do care. You can tell that they care, not that they don't care.
It definitely looks better than ever. I think Sunshine Era had no reason to look as bad as it did because the original was already extremely successful.
I agree.
But yes, Kane is correct. I enjoy this, and I'm angry that I enjoy this.
I still find that funny.
Yeah, that'll be endlessly entertaining for me.
I was watching the first few episodes, and I was like, come on, please be bad. Nope.
Yeah, Kanon's a surprisingly good main character for a Love Live show because they got kind of close with Ayumu from Nijigasaki because she like wasn't a cardboard Honoka cutout anymore.
Yeah.
But Kanon's like actually, she gives me Kumiko from Sound Euphonium vibes, where it's just like you're just like a cool person.
Yeah.
Like I don't really you could like deal without this, but you're here anyway. So cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kumiko comparison. She is like, I don't know, unusually together for a Love Live protagonist. Like she's not just crazy annoying Genki girl. She's
She like kind of doesn't want to be
yeah,
there.
totally. Yeah, like I guess Cuckoo kind of does that role in a way, but in more of a hyper annoying way.
Yeah.
Like she's maybe the protagonist of the first two plus Nico or something, or Nico's act. But yeah,
I get it.
Kanon is a surprisingly good protagonist. I mean, I like the protagonist of Nijigasaki, even though she wasn't one of the idols.
Yu was great.
Yeah.
It's just like she like wasn't an idol.
Right.
So there was like never gonna be like, yay, Yu fans or anything. It's like I'm glad that Yu was a thing.
Yeah.
But it's like Kanon is already more popular than Yu because Kanon sings.
Right, exactly.
Very good. Let's see. Is there anything else that anyone's passionate about talking about? I know, Kester, you said the season wasn't super great, but, I mean, still like One Piece. You got that going for you.
Yeah, this past season had probably the greatest episode in the history of One Piece. Some more of the greatest animation in the history of One Piece. So yeah, things are good. It's about to hit episode 1000.
Oh my god.
The manga hit chapter
Where I left
1000
off.
at the beginning of the year, and volume 100 just came out.
I don't remember where I left off. I don't remember what chapter I left off on. Probably hundreds of episodes ago. Boy.
Are they still just only releasing that show on DVD?
No, they finally switched. I
Yeah,
think.
this arc, they started releasing the first Blu-rays, so probably like earlier this year the first Blu-rays came out.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
Alright, how about we talk about, Kester, I want to know what you thought about Vanitas.
Oh yeah, me too.
I also watched it, and I personally thought that it was fine. I really like a lot of the ideas that it has. but I don't like the execution of some of the ideas.
Yeah.
And some of the characters I don't really find exactly compelling necessarily, but I like some of their like world building that's going on, and I think that's kind of what carried it for me personally, is seeing how the world works with the whole alternate vampire reality cities and the idea of their pure names. That's at least new to me. I don't know if that's new for vampire shit, but that's new to me because I don't really consume a lot of vampire stuff.
Yeah. I don't either. I've looked some stuff up. It has a lot of references to a lot of vampire media, a lot of history. So that's cool to be able to dig into some of that. Yeah, I definitely liked the setting, the concepts, a lot of how it was presented in unique ways. I'd say I like most of the characters most of the time. Vanitas himself is fucking crazy, but there's a lot of times where he's extremely entertaining. Yeah, there's some real great emotional content with like Noe's backstory, the way they interact, and the way that they kind of, like, everyone in the show is bisexual. They have their boyfriends and their girlfriends, and they have weird sexual, violent, blood-sucking fests. It's really chaotic and frenetic in a way that makes me not surprised that it's by the creator of Pandora Hearts, which I've only read, how many volumes in am I? 5 volumes of. But I've...
Oh, you're barely into Pandora Hearts, man.
But
you haven't even hit the shit
But like
yet.
right from the beginning, it's just like all over the place crazy. Same thing with this. It's got like a ton of ideas, and it just throws them out rapid fire, jumps between them within a single episode. It's got really good animation by Bones. It's got some really creative direction. The director had previously only worked as a director for the Monogatari series under Shinbo, and had done a lot of other work at Shaft, and you can definitely see a lot of that influence here. Great score from Yuki Kajiura. So really solid production all around. I think the story has a lot of potential. I think it is a bit of a mess right now, and things are sometimes a little too fast-paced. I don't want them drawn out, but yeah, there are some crazy leaps between various plot threads. So yeah, it has a lot of potential. I'm looking forward to the next season. We just have this one off, so it'll be back in winter.
Yeah, you don't get enough time to like marinate in the story before it's just like, okay, you get what happened right there. All right, moving on.
Yeah. Now something completely different and even crazier.
Yeah, so the moments, even though they stack themselves crazy on top of crazy, which can be an effective storytelling method in a way to get like your audience constantly enthralled and hyped. If you do it too much, it leads to almost like the craziness lacks the impact, because now it's just you're confused about what happened before, so you can't take in the craziness now because you're still trying to figure out what happened before. It doesn't give you enough time to sort of appreciate what it just gave you.
Yeah.
So it can feel very scatterbrained and hectic. I do enjoy the relationship between Vanitas and Noe, and that they don't really like each other. So it's like a buddy cop thing, except they're not buddies, so it feels more like 48 Hours, where they kind of hate each other, but also they work well together. So it just is what it is.
Yeah,
like it's an interesting relationship to see play out, because they don't really have a lot in common in how they do things or handle problems or really much of anything, but they're just kind of stuck together because of this whole book thing.
Yeah, there are a lot of good love-hate relationships in the series that swing wildly from one end to the other. Obviously Vanitas and Noe are a highlight of the series. They're dynamic. There's a lot of legitimately hilarious content that comes out of that, and just each of their idiosyncrasies and how they play off each other, and how poorly how incompatible they are, and how weirdly well that works. a lot of fun in that. And then, yeah, like, Vanitas and Jean has some very problematic elements, but can also be weirdly funny in some ways. Yeah, very interesting character dynamics between the various cast members.
Yeah, Vanitas, I don't really know exactly how to feel about him as a character, like from what I spoke about previously, that I don't really enjoy one of the early scenes, and I don't think many people really do, because it's very kind of shocking, and I feel like it's super ham-fisted to make you realize that Vanitas is not like a good guy, and I feel like there's just better ways to do it than just showing him sexually harassing somebody. But I think in other ways Vanitas is a good, almost like, I was thinking like a self-insert character in ways, because he's a human amongst all these super powerful vampire creatures, but he doesn't really give a shit too much.
Nope.
And I think everybody likes to think of themselves in that way sometimes, like, I'm gonna be the glitch, I'm gonna be the one that shows them that they're not shit. Compared to me, like in the ballroom episode where he just jumps on top of the chandelier and just basically like antagonizes all of these vampires that could very easily murder him. So I think he makes it interesting to kind of self-insert may not be the right terminology, but like you can imagine, everyone imagines themselves as that person that has like that insane confidence and swagger and can stand up to people who have power or believe they do and just be like, well, you ain't shit, and then go from there. So it makes him compelling, not always likable, but I guess that is by design. But it certainly makes him a compelling character to watch compared to your standard anime hero.
Yeah, he is always at 11, and with the kind of over-the-top nature of the directing and the music, that works really well in a lot of his big speeches and stuff. But yeah, I do like how he's portrayed as, not always heroic, and how he has some major moral and philosophical differences from Noe, and how they have to kind of deal with those factors in their relationship.
Vanitas is like if you gave Moriarty a constant Red Bull drip.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting to see, going straight from whatever early 19th century England to early 19th century France. A lot of the same kind of aesthetic choices carry over, except this one's steampunk and has vampires.
Yeah, and people's outfits are sometimes really pointy, but you don't understand how it's happening. Like Vanitas's gloves are so nice and pointy and claw-like, and then whenever he takes them off, those are just normal hands.
Well, the points are on the gloves.
But they stay so sharp.
It's fashion, man. You should see Break's jacket in Pandora Hearts. Makes no fucking sense. Even though they show that it's got like a strap holding it on the back, it still makes no sense. It's like, why would you wear that? Fashion. It's just the Met Gala all up in that shit.
Yep.
One of the main problems of any anime live-action adaptation is trying to get any of the clothing to work, unless you completely rework it.
Pretty much.
People just don't look good in anime clothing most of the time, unless it is something like Spike Spiegel or whatever, which is just a weird-looking suit. At least that looks tailored. It looks tailored enough that I could imagine somebody wearing it somewhere.
It definitely looks less cool in real life.
Yeah, it always looks less cool in real life.
Yeah.
Which is the
in anime
with that trailer that came out.
Yeah, because in anime, all the clothing is perfectly tailored, and nobody talks about how ridiculous it looks.
Yeah, because
everybody has.
It's fine because
everybody has it.
Their character designs can be just as ridiculous as their clothing, but when you try to put a real human being in that clothing, then it doesn't work.
No, not one bit. But yeah. So Vanitas is fine. I think. Gave it a B. I don't know. Maybe like if I had to grade it with a gun to my head, it'd be like a B minus. But I'm not good at grading things like that. or grading things in general, really, unless there's an objective measurement. But
it's so hard to be objective.
Well, it's like easy to grade like math papers. The number's right or wrong.
Yeah.
You say
but
the
like,
number's right or wrong. But anything in terms of subjective, I'm just really bad at. Like really, really bad at. But yeah, that pretty much that at least covers what I watched this season. I don't think I watched anything else. If I did, I started it and then never picked it back up, or I meant to start it like Sonny Boy, which is what Kestrel, you and DJ watched. That was one I kept telling myself I was going to, and then didn't.
I like it a lot.
Is it sci-fi?
Is it sci-fi? I guess
been-
it's kind of sci-fi. I wouldn't say that's the primary genre. I'd say it's more like psychological drama
Yeah,
than
it's like
sci-fi, but it's got supernatural elements.
it's like philosophical surrealism.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's really unique. It's like minimalist, but also there's always a lot of shit. So it's like anti-minimalist, but still minimalist. It's strange. There's a lot of just wide open blue sky, like zero clouds, and like just silhouettes of characters, and it looks a lot different from most things. It's hard to describe, I guess, because I'm having trouble doing it, but it's definitely worth watching. If only to just like see what it is, because it's got a story. The story's kind of tough to follow at times. Because it jumps all over the place between not only different times but different worlds and a bunch of shit happening. So it can be a little meticulously fragmented, I will say. That's a fun combination of words. It's definitely out to do something, though. Not sure what that something is, but it's trying to get it across.
This is an amazing review.
Yeah.
Well, how else do you like review surrealist like fucking art house anime? Like, I'm doing my best here.
I am writing reviews of it every week, and it's extremely difficult. And it ends in less than 2 days, and I have no idea what it's about or what it's trying to say. So it'll be interesting to see if it becomes any clearer from that.
I think we'll get it in the end. I think I'm holding out hope that it'll click, and we'll just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was all a metaphor for, like, I don't know, sex or something, like blue coolie or some shit. I don't know.
And you start to pick up on some of the things as time goes on, some of the things that it is saying, but in terms of the overall story and main themes, I think we have to wait till the end, and probably requires a rewatch to really let it sink in, because, yeah, trying to understand this 20 whatever minutes a week is, very convoluted, hard to follow, and it's interesting, it's very unique. It's one person's vision more than you get almost ever in TV anime, because it's an original series written and directed by one person. And there's it's very minimalist to the point that there's no score. It only uses existing songs inserted a few an episode. Very unique. Yeah.
It's so strange, and I love it. I love stuff like this where it's just like clearly a person's passion project, and you can just feel every ounce of that person in it. And I finally got to hear Gangnam Boys in a fucking anime, and that is amazing.
Yeah, it has no opening. It has an ending song, but no ending sequence. It's I kind of feel like it would work better as a movie, because as a series, it's very drawn out, and by design, it's very deliberately protracted. But being able to see the whole vision and the whole message, whatever it might be, all of the themes play out in a single sitting without any interruptions and without kind of all this extra space that's maybe unnecessary, I think it probably could have functioned a little better that way.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I like it as a series, but you could cut a lot of it out, and it would be easier to comprehend, and it would be easier to watch because of that. Like, even there's one episode left. There's absolutely no way they're going to tie up a lot of the things that I'm confused about, because there's like a fucking teacher character that I think is just gone now, who was like a big deal. And there are a lot of other characters that seemed like important figures that all just went away. And so it's like there's just a lot of shit that I felt was going somewhere, but then just was suddenly not even a thing at all.
Yep.
So I really don't know how it's going to end. I can't even take a guess.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. So
again, I don't even know what it's about yet with one episode left. Yeah. So cannot even imagine what he's got in store for us in the final episode.
We get to hear Kenjiro Suda voice a dog, though.
That's true.
That's cool.
Yep.
That's worth the price of admission. Yeah, I mean, how you guys just talked about it was exactly how what I thought of it reading the synopsis and seeing the pictures. I was like, this is going to be a confusing one, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. It's like there was another show 2 or 3 years ago called 18 If that I tried to watch, and I feel like that was just a significantly worse version of this, because it was just another fever dream, minimalist, psychological, surrealist shows. But this one is a lot more, I don't want to say endearing, because there aren't really any inherently likable characters. They're all kind of bad people. But I think that's the point. So there's something special about realistically flawed characters in shows like this, just using conversation and dialogue to fuel episodes because there's nothing else happening.
Yeah, I mean, Nozomi is a good person, but
yeah, she is. I can't say anything else. Yep. She's kind of like the manic pixie dream girl kind of like good character, though. She just shows up and she's like amazing. It's ephemeral. Yeah,
like everything about this show and all of its characters are so far removed from reality and like so hyper specific on some trait that it doesn't really feel out of place, because just everything is bizarre and like, I don't know, just doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah, nothing about the show feels quite right, though, so it works.
Right, exactly.
Very good. Well, maybe I'll still check it out, because I can get into some of that weird highbrow art house, not really sure what it's about, but kind of sure what it's about stuff. I can get into that with the right mood.
It might be tough to watch in one sitting if you planned on doing that.
No, I don't do that with anything.
Okay.
No, nowadays when I'm watching like anime series or things that have already been completed or as close to completed as they're gonna get, it's normally like 2 or 3 at a time, maybe.
Okay, yeah,
then I'll be doing some other shit. Yeah, I think the most I watched at a time was I just finished watching Emma, and I think I watched 4 once at a time, and even then I was like, all right, I'm good. I gotta let whatever just happened digest a little bit, and then I wanted to play video games. So yeah, I'm not gonna fucking try and blast through this show out of all shows. Definitely not this one, apparently. All right. Does anyone else have something they wanted to talk about in particular? I know we're starting to get about to that time, but I know there's always shows that we don't talk about, just because of the time constraints. But is there anything that any of you folks are burning with passion to say something about, or should we just move on to the old recommendations section?
Burning with passion?
Yeah, that's yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But not
Yeah,
that kind.
okay.
But yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm burning with passion. There's an ember of passion that wants to push people in the direction of Magia Record again, because the second season is one of the best things that I have seen from Shaft. It is one of the best things I've seen in general. It is so well directed, so well animated, and it's nothing at all like the first season. And I know the first season was, I guess, rough for some people since it wasn't rated very well. But it is hyper focused on its plot now, and it's just so good. It's so good. And another show that there is a slightly smaller ember for is Kageki Shoujo, which I talked about in our last episode briefly, I believe. It is about Koka, which is the female kabuki, basically. It's like just all women actresses performing for women, and that's just all it is. And it's about a school of girls attempting to get into Koka as actresses and become like top stars and stuff. It's a subject I don't know a lot about, but the creator clearly knows a fuck ton about, and so it's hyper passionate about that one niche industry, and it's full of really intense and surprisingly dark character drama that all sort of blends in with societal expectations of women in Japan, and specifically women in Koka, because there are really specific traits that they need to have and body types that they need to have, and it's all about girls trying to not only prove themselves but to keep up with that part of the industry, and it's rough at times, but it's so good, and it's really, really interesting. That's all the passion flames that I have, though. I think I'm good. Just dropping everything else from here.
Very good. Kestrel, anything from you?
Kobayashi is very well animated, well directed, and the opening is pure joy.
I have to watch that still. The opening specifically.
Yep. Yeah. Ishihara, he has the most distinctive openings. This one is almost identical to the first Nichijou opening in many ways, and I love it.
He is a good guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and speaking of him being a good guy, he credited the previous director of Kobayashi, who passed away in the arson attack, as series director for the sequel. So that was nice of him.
Aww.
Heartwarming and sad.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, if you guys are ready to go, I think we can safely move on to recommendations if anybody has any.
I have one.
Oh, that's good. Lay it on us.
It's not anime. It's not a video game.
Oh,
it is a Western cartoon that people have been telling me to watch for years, and I was always like, eh. But I finally started watching it, and I like it a lot, and that show is BoJack Horseman.
Still need to watch that.
It is good. They do drugs very well. There are several episodes where characters are like under the influence, and it'll show their perspective of stuff. And as someone who has never done drugs before, I can tell you that it's very accurate.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I actually have a manga recommendation for this week. There's a new volume of Yosuba out.
Oh, is that out now?
In English. Yes.
Oh yeah.
In stock at Right Stuff. Brand new release, volume 15.
Hell yeah.
Our semi-annual Yosuba.
Yeah, what is it, like
Yosuba
2-3 years in between each one? Yeah, 3
Yeah.
years. That's rough.
Yeah.
How many volumes is it supposed to be?
It's not. It's just, it's a slice of life. It could go on forever and next week.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
The So the only thing I could really recommend, like that's anime based, is I previously mentioned I recently finished watching Emma, and it just got that new dub a little bit ago. I think late last year, as a part of a Kickstarter, and the dub's pretty good. Like I don't watch dubs very often, but sometimes I'll pick them if the show does take place in like England or something, right. Just to see what that's like. And for the most part, it was good. It was serviceable at worst. Some of the people with German accents were kind of shit, but especially Emma, who is, if I recall, played by a British voice actor, who I think that's interesting that they only picked one. Mm-hmm. Granted, she's the main character, so if you're going to pick any, if you only had one slot open for an actual British person, that's the one you would want, is the main character. But, I mean, the show's really good. For those who haven't watched it, it's on the older side because I've been watching older stuff. It's from like 2005 originally, but this dub is 9 months old at this point. Maybe a little newer depending on when you count it being quote-unquote finished. I'm not sure when it got to streaming services, but last you check on the Kickstarter, I think it was like December 2020 it ended and they were shipping out Blu-rays. Mm-hmm. But I don't know when that reflected over to streaming services, if that was like right away or what. But I mean, the show's good. It's a really slow burn for the most part, so sometimes that can get in its way because it does stretch a romance like 24 episodes, and sometimes it feels like it could have been 22 or 21. Like you could have cut maybe 2 episodes of shit out of it sometimes, like lots of lingering stares on people and moments of silence that sometimes feels like it's padding out time and not establishing like a dramatic sort of tension. But just speaking mainly of the dub, it's really well done, especially for a show that is, in England, that has a very specific accent that a lot of American people can't do very well. So yeah, I would recommend going out and watching that. I think I watched it on Funimation, so that's at least one place where you can watch it with the new dub. So yeah, go ahead and give that a shot. It's not as good as the English dub for Bakano, but that's a pretty high bar for me personally. Yeah. to get over. But this was good.
All right,
Kestrel, how about you?
My recommendations. This has been out for about a month now, but the final Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel movie is out on Blu-ray. The limited edition, as with all of them, has the soundtrack, nice hardcover book with a lot of great interviews and stuff, a lot of great art, really beautiful packaging, great movie, great conclusion to all of that, and yeah, I guess my time with Fate basically lasted a decade because I started when Fate Zero started airing, and yeah, it was a really good conclusion to that, and I don't need any more Fate to exist, but it sure will, and I'll probably watch some of it. But I'm fine with going out on a high point like this. Also, check out Star Wars Visions. It's got its ups and downs. Some of it's pretty good, some of it's very bad. But yeah, give it a shot. It's worth experiencing once, and then, if you like some of them, you can just rewatch those ones because they're completely independent. And also, so the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures is opening up maybe the day this is released, 2 days from this recording, and their opening exhibit is on Hayao Miyazaki, and I just came back from LA, and I hope I'll be able to get back there before that exhibit is over. But they released a big fancy art book with lots of artwork and lots of articles about Miyazaki to kind of coincide with that exhibit. And I just got it today, and it's really big and looks really good so far from my brief glances through it. So yeah, I would recommend that.
Cool.
Very good. Well, I think if that's everything, Kate, I believe we can wrap it up for the evening.
Neat.
Very.
Kestrel, where can you find us?
You can find us anywhere you find podcasts, and perhaps more. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Alexa, Amazon Podcasts, which is a different thing, I guess. Facebook, I guess. You can listen to the actual podcast there. Fandompost.com.
When we don't get muted.
Yeah, you might find 53 seconds that are muted on one of our episodes. In Japan, maybe elsewhere, I don't know. But for the most part, they should be on Netflix, or on Netflix. We'll be on Netflix soon, I promise. On Facebook, and you can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Follow us there, like our stuff, get in contact with us. We will be posting about the upcoming episode 100 and taking people's top 10 anime lists so that we can include those on the show. And you can also get in contact with us via email at fandompostradio@gmail.com. And I'm on Twitter at FullMetalKyoma.
I am on Twitter at I'll go. I am on Twitter at DJ No Style, and my game is on Patreon at patreon.com/lessonsinlove.
Yes, go give DJ even more money.
I only make $11,300 a month. How am I gonna pay the bills?
I hate you right now so much. Teach me your ways, Sensei.
I wrote 70,000 words this month.
Jesus Christ. Okay, maybe not.
That's not counting programming and images and stuff.
Yeah, I don't.
I think sometimes
those are my ways, Kate. You wanted to know.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's forgotten around here how much work is put into this.
Oh yeah, he definitely deserves
this. Oh, here's boobs.
Yeah.
Yes, around this smut.
Yeah.
High quality smut. I'm on Twitter at SonicBug. You can find me posting about video games and yelling into the ether, and probably yelling about my work. And yeah, I think am I forgetting anything?
Sounds like it.
Kane's only on here. Nope, the usual. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, send us your lists for your top 10 anime of all time. I'm gonna have a hell of a time trying to write this list. Not for lack of watching things, despite what my co-hosts may think, just because I don't tend to play favorites very often. So
and also you don't watch things.
I do watch things. I used to watch way more things, so I have a plethora of things in my back brain that are taking up space.
Yo, live your life. My list is gonna be fucking trash.
I'm thinking
this is
about
my
making
worst
my list.
nightmare.
I think I'm going to make my list trash on purpose.
Wow, guys. Don't worry. Kestrel and I will have real lists.
All right, if you guys are going to have fake lists, then just don't come on the episode. Because we have plenty of other people who will come on.
It's not a fake list. I'm not good at making lists because I can't compare shows in my head very well. So it isn't like you're so sure,
yeah, you guys don't even have, my anime list stuff, do you?
No, I don't.
You're literally going to have to think.
No, I don't rank. I don't really rank or rate anything outside of when we're talking about it in the specific season it is.
Yeah. Kestrel and I catalog everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Crazy.
It's not going to be a fake list, but you guys, live and breathe and ranking your anime and ranking your best boys and girls and your OPs and EDs. And I'm just trying to keep up watching 3 shows a season.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go through a list of shows that got released year by year starting in 1995 and just start listing stuff down and then narrowing it down and then narrowing it down and then narrowing it down. It's I don't know. I don't feel that strongly about things anymore or ever, I think. I'm just
regain that passion.
The passion is gone. I like things. But, it takes a lot to wow me. And same thing with anything, recent or, TV-wise in this country or anything. It's hard.
Well, before you make your list based off of that statement, you should just watch Uramichi and then launch that bitch all the way up to number 1, baby.
Jesus.
I hate that. That's like when the Rolling Stones list is all top 100 songs, and then, there's a bunch of shitty-ass songs from the last decade, and you're nah.
Oh my god, fucking IMDb did a top 100 movies of all time 2 years after Inception came out, and Inception was number 2, and it made me really mad.
I mean,
that list is not reliable.
There should be a moratorium
period.
or something. Yeah. There needs to be a moratorium of like at least 5 years so people can put the distance between themselves and the thing. Anyway, okay, we've already run long. We're gonna go. Tune in next episode for our top 10 lists. It'll be a big one. It's the big 100. Maybe we can get Chris to like... No, it's not gonna work. What am I talking about? Never mind. Thanks for joining us.
Can we get him to say hello?
I hope so. I'll be like, dude, just come in for 2 seconds. You're on Discord, god damn it. Yeah. Tune in next time. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
See you on the internet.
Adios.
See ya.